go one way or the other. All right. So, yeah, we got a matchup between Xardas and Omar. Um, they are Division 11, which is the novice division. So, interested to see people who are probably around my skill level, if not probably better. Oh wait, hold on. We could do so. Runestones picked first by Xardas. Outcrop. Now we get bans. Sunburn. I haven't seen Sunburn before. And Shoals. Not surprising that people don't like water maps for lower levels, and I say that as soon as they pick Immersion. Serengeti. A lot of Arabia here. No Acre, and no Hyperandom. And Aftermath. Interesting. Which one's Aftermath? That's the... You have like a walled city with cities' walls already broken, I think. Okay, so one water map, and Serengeti's not a water map, but all right. This is DM Arabia, and this is DM Gold or DM Gold Pit inverted, kind of. Walls die right away, and the side workshops give passive. Oh, right, that's the one that has the workshop. Okay, yep. It's like there's one with like relic hills or something. That was a new map when I stopped playing. So we can go through and do the bans. So right away we get some admin bans: Berbers, Vikings, Chinese, Armenians, Aztecs, Romans, Saracens, and Tatars. I assume these are just randomly banned. I'm not sure what the admin bans are. I assume they're just random bans, or because they've been different each time, which would make sense because it makes it actually like mix up some strategies. Admin bans or random bans. Cool. Okay, I do like that, especially in a game like Age where it is so like, especially at lower levels where it's you're very much forced. People tend to pick a single civ more than they should. I mean, I have a diehard fandom of the Mayans, so all right. Celts I've heard are very good in DM. Jurchens, I have no idea what the Jurchens do, but makes sense. Huns, one of the easiest DM civs at the lower levels, I know. Mongols, very strong. Slavs, Spanish, Gurjaras, and Magyars. Most of those make sense to me. All right, we get our blind picks, and those are Bengalis. Both of them Bengalis. We could do a Bengali mirror match. Persians and Cumans. Good choice. What's up, Griffin? How are we doing today, bud? Khmer, Vietnamese, Japanese, Hindustanis, Franks. Do you like the Franks? Italians, probably for the hybrid map or for the water map then. Britons. I suppose, are Turks available? I mean, Turks feel like a high level water pick. There they are. All right. And Malians. So some of these civs I do know. I am just going to touch up real quick on the Bengalis because those were relatively new when I left. Elephant and Naval Civ. They have the town centers shenanigans. Better monk or better elephants. Oh, they have the really strong monks and the ship HP regen, which is really good. Rathas and Elf. Oh, they have Rathas. Yep, I remember the Rathas now. And then trade units, not very useful in solo. No player likes SO. I mean, not to like dunk on newer players because or novice players because I definitely am no better. But SO requires quite a bit of finesse. Or like we watched a few games last time I streamed or last time I casted where it was like going so well and then one or two bad SO shots just wiped out half of their own army and cost them the game. Oh, what's up, Otter? I mean, you were there, so you have the same color name as Griffin, and I thought it was Griffin talking again. Okay, so elephants. They have arbalests. They have champions, halbs, um, squires, light cav, and elephants. So no camels or calves. Interesting. Those civs often don't even make SO with SO civs. Yeah. Um, yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, and okay, so no SO. Speaking of, um, good blacksmith upgrades. And cheaper villagers and monks. That's right. So their pop's basically going to be wild. Cool. Cool. That's all I really need to look at. Okay, so I mean, I've already loaded the game, so I don't have the setups to really do the spoilers or anti-spoilers or anything like that. We can only start with 5 builds and have a lot of great. Oh, they start with 5. Interesting. Normal onagers with civs that don't have SO. I mean, it's a lot easier to not kill yourself with regular onagers. So we're just gonna get into the first game. And we can get ready to start it. So let me just switch over. All right, and let's begin. So in the red, welcome to another round of Tarnished Deathmatch. This is Division 11, the match between Omar and Xardas. Omar will be playing in the red, and has currently selected the Vietnamese. And in the blue, Xardas is playing the Hindustanis. Already dropping all the villagers, or all the towns. Got a stable coming out early for Xardas. And not quite as many buildings coming out right away. Maybe that's just a viewing thing for Omar. But looks like the scout's going to be out here already. Omar going to probably lose a villager here. A nice early rush from Xardas. Xardas takes a villager out. Spear is coming over to deal with that scout, and the scout gets a little bit distracted. So one villager pick is not bad, and Omar not going forward with his scouts. Going to hang back and slowly build up his defenses. Looks like Xardas is a little bit more experienced with the deathmatch start, having already placed the buildings in the grid formation. Give some space for some quick walls, starting to pump out some camels. Camels probably the best option they have, and sending the camels all the way past to draw the halberdiers away, which means some villagers can be exposed if Xardas takes an opportunity to do it, but he's continuing to send the village. Okay, now the camels go in. But the pikes are there to block this, so pretty solid plan. I mean, the rally point's going far and the camels going past. So, you know, half of the perfect strategy here, but not really following up with the actual micro needed to take out the villagers. So, but I mean, looks like the Xardas is focusing on infrastructure and building everything up, and it's going well. And also has claimed the 2 workshops on the corner, on the edges, getting the extra resources. I mean, this just seems like somebody who focuses much more on economy / buildings and really wants to focus on establishing a solid army and knows what they're doing. Maybe not the best at executing it, but this is a really strong start. Massive army. You can already see doubles the army of Omar. Omar getting where he kind of needs to, but struggling a little bit. Has a lot of villagers on a single TC. Is making the heavy cav archers. So it's going to be heavy cav archers versus the Imperial camels, which, I mean, I guess I thought Vietnamese. I mean, I guess heavy cav archers make sense, but like Vietnamese going cav archer, any kind of cav into Imperial archer or Imperial camels. Fix something real quick. Hopefully that didn't spoil anything. Casting div 11. All right. There we go. All right, and some cav archers coming forward. Could snipe a few villagers, but looks like they've just rally pointed forward. Oh, now they notice. They're going to pick a few villagers off, but this massive death ball looks very scary. Has some onagers behind it. No trebs quite yet. Making a bunch of gulams. And those villagers do get wiped out. 2 villagers are there. Oh god, onager shots are going to be very dangerous. Those cav archers are going to chase them away. This looks like a very standard, solid start for Xardas. Omar, definitely going to be on the back foot here. So, I mean, Omar does have a little bit of an economy going. TC is starting to be built by Xardas. And, yeah, starting to spread out with the economy. Still has the markets, and now the push is going to start coming. We need some trebs behind this. But those onager shots on those halberdiers are going to do a lot of damage. Kill a lot of them. Might kill a few friendly camels. But those halberdiers really do get melted, and the gulams are going to be even better here to take the brunt of the halberdier firing. I remember the Ghulams are anti-archers. They have 8 armor piercing armor. So they're going to do really well against those cav archers. But still need some trebuchets to actually make this push. Trebuchet being put out in the front. And now some trebuchets come in for Xardas. I mean, yeah, Omar knows what he's supposed to do. It just looks like the execution isn't quite there, and the Ghulam's starting to get some good raids and kill the villagers who are just standing around. This is a tough one for Xardas, or for Omar. If Xardas starts trebbing some buildings and actually starts using his army, it'll probably be better. I'm assuming his APM is being spent managing his eco. Yeah, you can see all these TCs being dropped at home. Xardas kind of thinking long-term game when the early game is kind of there. Bombard cannon is starting to come out too, so they could snipe some trebuchets, but they're left exposed. And the cav archers aren't fast enough to take out those camels. And now as the trebs start to work their way, we got 7 trebuchets coming in. Elephants are here, and they're not going to do very well when there's only a low number of elephants versus all these camels. And this looks like it's not going to be a very long game. But those onagers could very quickly turn the tide in the wrong way if they land a few bad shots. This is almost where you might even just want to send those onagers away because they are landing so many shots on those camels. Look at those camels' HP melt. There's so many camels, it doesn't matter. Omar doing a solid job of keeping his military numbers up, though. Sending in a few champions to try to deal with some of the Ghulams. But we've also seen hand cannoneers help deal with some of the halberdiers, so those are going to melt them pretty quickly too. Really, Ace? But yeah, this push looks like Omar just doesn't have enough in the tank to deal with. No real economy to speak of, and still plenty of trebs, still 4 trebs around to go start taking out these buildings. And Omar's trying to hold on, but this kind of looks like a losing position. And I don't know if there's too much to be said. We can check with the economies back home. I mean, yeah, Xardas transitioning into the middle game, right as Omar calls to GG as his middle of the base is exposed, and there's only 11 military left. Very well done from Xardas. I think really that was the key thing, was just that really strong start from Xardas, getting that massive army, a little bit better comp, I think, and just kind of forcing the issue right away. Looks like Xardas has really practiced their openings, and you can just see kind of. What are you doing? Sorry, my cat is. I had to do some cleaning. Let's see this. And there's a little tin that I have, and Ace is just absolutely obsessed with it. Hey, sir. There's a single cable in here. Is it that interesting? Ugh. No more bucket for you. Alright. Sorry about the cat interruption. He's a troublemaker. But a strong first game from Xardas. For sure. Cute co-caster. Pain in my ass co-caster. But yes, he is adorable. Okay, so that was the Bengalis, right? Yeah. Xardas. What's the Bengalis, right? No, Hindustanis. Other camel sieve. Hindustanis won, and the Vietnamese lost. Cats are weird. So many places, spheres all around the apartment, but no. Exactly, yeah. It's funny. It's like he's finally started using the scratching post, but like I've gotten so many things for him to use, and he's like, this is interesting. I'm going to scratch the couch right behind it. Or other stuff. So, like I said, I don't really have the best setup for doing the predictions. So if you give me 1 second, let me look at some information and I will talk about it. So give me 1 second. All right. So, the information I do have is the first game was on Aftermath. And the next game is going to be on Outcrop. So, on Outcrop, do we have any predictions on what the civs will be? Anybody want to take a guess? I already know what the civs are, so I don't really know. But it's, it seems like Outcrop tends to be another, like, similar to Arabia, establish some outposts or some setups on the side, big team fights, control the golds and everything. Any Arabia civ probably is going to be solid here. It's not going to be the water match, so you probably won't see Italians. And I don't know what, maybe I don't know which civ is best. Probably Turks for water, because the bombard ships, especially with the immersion being that middle pond so important with their long-ranged cannons. So don't think it'll be Turks. Turks and Italians or Malians would be saved for the water map. So probably gonna see any of the other ones. I'm guessing it's mostly just comfort pick at this point. But any guesses? Besides Xardas? Xardas, no guessing. I think you have insider information. Let's see, did I miss any messages? Andre's good. Turks versus Malians is your prediction? Okay. Malians can rush an immersion. Oh, interesting. Well, we're not doing immersion yet. I was just talking about immersion because that's the only thing I do know is water civs versus not water civs. So, all right. I guess no other guesses. Let's get to it. We switch to Khmer for surprise pick on Elephant Rush. Yeah, that's fair. I always forget that Elephant Rush is an actual thing. All right, so it's going to be Turks versus Britons on Outcrop. All right, in the blue we have Xardas playing the Turks. This is game number 2. Xardas managed to win the first one with a very strong build. Once again, starting with that very strong APM of setting up all the buildings right away, getting 2 and 1 on different buildings, and immediately queuing the villager over there. So very strong opening start from Xardas. Looks like Xardas has practiced his DM's openings quite a bit. Omar, on the other hand, will be playing the Britons in the red. I don't think Britons are that great of a DM civ. Archers tend to not be as strong as other civs or other unit compositions, and Britons, famed for their really strong archers. But you get a few halberdiers with some longbowmen behind them, and anything can happen. Scout from Xardas trying to find a pick, might get one here, and will get 1 kill. A little better reaction from Omar this time around, but still not enough, and a nice snipe. Then, nice snipe by Xardas, yeah. And you can see already Xardas sending forward the camels once again, probably rally pointing them. Do we see rally points? No. There's probably a way, but that camel's going past to try to draw the halberdiers. And all of them kind of clumping over here, and we're going to see some villager picks here. The castle a little far forward. Be great right against the TC so you can hide the villagers. We're going to lose a few villagers here. The halberdiers are out of position. And that's going to be a really nice find. You can already see Eco KD from Xardas going up to 6 kills. Going up to, 6 kills for that few. And that's just going to be a very massive advantage for Xardas. Ignoring everything else. There's a massive eco lead, massive infrastructure lead. You're down to 4 villagers already. You can see the camels actually going to clump up on the left side to get ready for a flanking attack. Make sure no expansions over there. We would see some camels on the right side to prevent an expansion over there. Xardas really expanding their eco. Xardas knows what we're doing. Never see on land maps. I suppose because Turks probably are saved for the water maps. Is that what you're thinking, Otter? See some heavy cav archers coming in for Xardas as well, and now a few camels are going to poke in and find the halberdiers and run away. At least, 3 camels drawing a lot of halberdiers. Halberdiers stop going too far forward, so that's nice. And the castle is up to try to help defend some of these rushes. Cav archers going to lose some, maybe get a villager pick as well. Yeah, it's 7 eco kills. These cav archers finding a few kills here, finding a few villager kills. This is such a strong start for Xardas. You can already see the eco, way more villagers, a little pop capped. But yeah, Xardas really put in some effort to practice there. DM openings and goings, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Xardas would deal with a rush. I think at this point, Omar might realize that trying to stay home and defend against this has not been the strong suit. Omar happens to have Xardas has their openings pretty well done. You can see his massive ball. And when someone's very practiced at their opening, you might wanna and they kind of outpace you in that aspect. You might need a rush to might be when you have to rush to try to throw them off their game. Meantime, Xardas kind of surrounding Omar. Omar's trying to build some castles to protect their units, and these castles will take out a few of the random camels here and there, and some pikes and longbowmen. I mean, if you can get enough of Britain Death Ball, that will be very helpful. I think late game, super late game Britain Death Ball, slow but steady, but continuously kind of work. And it'll be interesting to see if Xardas knows. At least the saying back in the day was the Britain Death Ball is OP until you add in siege rams, just to tank up all the ammo. But I mean, the problem is Xardas is just establishing control over all the resources and has full map control. Omar is kind of stuck in their base, doesn't have a lot of resources back home, and we'll see. I mean, Archer Micro won't be too important, but let's kind of see just a bunch of camels, bunch of heavy cav archers, handful of scorpions, some bombard cannons. Omar looks like he's going to be in trouble. I mean, the military is starting to get up there, only 30 behind, so that's nice. But the cav archers continue to flank around and try to find some picks. Unfortunately, attacking the foundations instead of the villagers building them. These longbowmen will clean this up. And unfortunately, I think Xardas missed an opportunity to kind of make a push right away. And it gave Omar time to build up an army. And I mean, the longbowmen are going to shred these cav archers. Though there's a lot of units from Xardas. But the micro's not there, and these halberdiers are going to get pulled into the castle range and get shredded by the bombard cannons as well, and that's a lot of bombard cannons. Bombard cannons going to land some shots. And sure, the halberdiers are going to trade favorably with the camels. There's a lot of camels, and they're just going to be shredded, and so much damage. So much damage. And now the military numbers are just still plus 30 for Xardas. And Xardas close to popping up, or capping out, and the heavy cav archers going around for a flank attack. I mean, one thing Omar has done is built a bunch of castles to protect his economy and his buildings, so it's going to be hard for the cav archers to find any place to attack. The longbowmen are finding some bomber cannon kills here. One treb does go down. I don't think it's worth it. One treb for a bunch of bombard cannons is not where they needed the camels. And there's no heavy cav archers. The heavy cav archers are out of position. Heavy cav archers need to be there to take the halberdiers. So the camels are going to try to flank, and like the halberdiers cleaning up all those hussars, and now the heavy cav archers are here. So delayed a little bit for the heavy cav archers to deal with this, and the longbowmen will get some good shots. There's going to be a lot of the meat shield gone for Xardas, and I mean, it's easier to replace halberdiers than it is to replace heavy camels. And I mean, I don't know if that trade was worth it for Xardas. Xardas lost a lot of gold units versus the halberdiers. There's still a big ball of longbowmen, and the bomber cannons are taking out these trebuchets. And these cav archers are firing on these exposed trebuchets, and there's not enough military coming through for halberdiers to really protect these longbowmen. A little bit missed micro. I mean, look at the military numbers. Xardas is at half the pop of Omar. I don't know if Xardas had everything he needed in the queue, and like these longbowmen, again, you get the death ball. It kind of works, but those longbowmen have been flattened by the bombard cannons. This is a lot of, now it might start swinging back the other way. Those bomber cannons just getting so much value. I mean, the Britain with Warwolf, I believe it is, can take out these bomber cannons if there's no micro. But there's a lot more bomber cannons, and there's a lot more. Yeah, it's the problem of you're trickling in units. Kills on the BBC. 10 from these three, and there's a bunch that are dead. So 13. So a lot of kills on those bomber cannons. Yeah, the problem is that, I mean, now Omar's kind of clumping up his units, but he's trickling in the halberdiers, and those are just getting shredded by the heavy cav archers. Omar kind of need to pull his units back and use his choke point, which is really good. Let the longbowmen outrange the heavy cav archers, and that's what they're doing right now. Scorpion's trying to come into play and get some shots, but I mean, I don't know if those are the play. Some skirmishers being used by the, I don't know if those are the play either. I think just spamming halberdiers is starting to work for Omar. You just need the longbowmen to take the good engagements, and I mean, that's a lot of heavy cav archers down, so the heavy cav archer ball is kind of gone. The only problem is, I mean, Omar's trying to expand a little bit here with some eco. I would love to see Xardas send some forward castles, really take control of the map. But I mean, Xardas does have a really strong economy. So this fight might be going slightly Omar's way right now, and really is with a massive army in the back being pumped out by Omar. But the economy in the long term is just so favored for Xardas. Has double the economy, has fully fleshed out on the golds and the stones. And Omar only now going there. And you can still see the resources are good. I mean, Omar pop capping as well, but a little bit heavy on the military. But I mean, that's more than 4 times the military. So if Omar can get some trebs on, I mean, most of it is trash units. Need some more trebuchets to start pushing these castles. But I mean, it's going to be very hard for Xardas to find any damage here, with the pop situation kind of reversed. Yeah, we need siege, we need ram. Like, I mean, Britain's you throw in rams, not just to take buildings down, but just to target the trebs and soak up the archer fire. But yeah, now we see the massive ball of longbowmen. We have some skirms to deal with the heavy cav archers. Treb's gonna start taking out this forward position. Luckily, Xardas, always aware of the map, is taking some pressure and denied this expansion. And a castle here, very smart to at least prevent any expansion until these longbowmen take care of it, I guess. But that's gonna take forever. A treb or 2 would be nice, but that treb should be going out taking out this expansion. So at this point, if Xardas gonna hold on, they're going to win based off the economy. You can see the economy already probably set up. And this fight in the middle is still going pretty decently. I think, yeah, now they're starting to fall back. Once this castle goes down, the castle is being held up by these villagers, but that castle is about to go down. And this is going to allow the halberdiers much more free reign to actually engage with these units. But there's no halberdiers right now. Those longbowmen are exposed. A lot of hussars are coming in, but the halberdiers rushing in to try to defend them. And yeah, it's going to be dicey. That's a lot of... And the bomber cannon going for the trebs. I mean, I guess, but really that bomber cannon needs to hit those longbowmen. And yeah, now the hussars have no more hussars. The halberdiers are starting to meet the cav archers, and the longbowmen are going to start really raining fire down onto these crossbows, or these heavy cav archers. And looks like Omar has cleaned up the expansion on the left side, so could send some villagers forward, and we actually have a forward castle going. This is the problem with Xardas not establishing enough control with like castles or towers or TCs out here. This castle's gonna go up and be a huge thorn in the side unless these cav archers can block it. And no, Xardas forced to pull them back as the military is just not there. Omar continuing to push forward. Omar doing really well. Yeah, 1 or 2 bomber shots on these longbowmen would be huge. And looks like landing a few shots here. You can see the health just melt away. 6 kills on the bomber cannons, and really landing some good shots. Those longbowmen need to be focus fired on the bomber cannons, but they're not, and so many shots. Look at all that HP. And they're really clumped up. Oh gosh. 11 kills. 13 kills. Each shot is just destroying those longbowmen. And Omar is struggling a little bit. He has the wood eco now, but lost so many archers there that now it's being pushed back by Xardas. There's no halberdiers and skirms coming in to try to defend against this, but this forward castle, very smart. Can we see some trebuchets? Making longbows, but need a trebuchet here to start picking away at some of this economy. But, I mean, Omar's starting to expand their economy. Very smart. I mean, this will go down slowly. So the fight really taking all the focus in the middle. Looks like Xardas has pushed them back. We would love to see a forward castle try to regain control of the middle area. Maybe some siege work, forward sieges to try to gain control of that as well. But heavy cav archers maintaining their grip on this. Yeah, this castle slowly wearing down this TC, maybe grabbing a few kills. Has 7 kills. That is very efficient castle. But yeah, the heavy cav archers really massing up. 102 kills for this ball. Just massive up here. And now Omar's pop count is dwindling. Is now even. Had double the military before, but just not enough, and those bomber cannons really did their number to take out those longbowmen, and there just wasn't enough trash following up behind to keep refilling the ranks to protect against the hussars, against the heavy cav archers, and switching to arbalests now to increase production speed, I guess. But needs some more trash units, needs some more resources. Doesn't have the farm eco to produce trash units either. And the Bomber Cannon is taking out this expansion. It's a lot of gold access that Omar needs, and unfortunately will lose, doesn't have the ability to protect it since he lost the middle fight. And this castle still not going down. One Trev here would have saved this, would have prevented any expansion on this side, but very well done from Xardas to maintain map control. A couple Arbalests are going to try to take out these. I mean, this is going to do a lot of damage if Xardas doesn't realize. Xardas does realize. Is on the hill, so is going to be losing some fight, I think. But with the Hussars coming in and just the massive Cav Archers, they're going to win that fight. Bomber Cannon's going to clean up this expansion. Some Spears over here to help protect against this. But for the most part, yeah, I think Xardas is starting to push forward. That eco, the double eco is just really carrying hard here. 60 on farms, 20 on gold. And I mean, yeah, Xardas, or Omar can have a lot on gold, but isn't running out of wood lines. Doesn't have the gold. I mean, just super exposed on the side. And if Xardas adds some more siege again, has a couple of bomber cannons. So if he gets some Trebs in here, starts taking out these buildings, takes up the castle, he'll be doing fine. And yeah, now we're starting to raid that one gold line. Hussar CA. Yeah, it's kind of, at the end of the day, nobody's rams when Hussar Siege has extra Pierce Armor and HP. Oh, is that what the Turks get? I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, Xardas is doing a really good job of clumping up his units, making sure he has a nice military ball and starting to push forward. Omar was doing really well, just didn't have the micro, didn't have the placement to protect against his longbowmen getting melted, and didn't have the siege follow-up to really take out the buildings that he needed to and do the damage. Additionally, Xardas really doing well spreading out the map, maintaining an eco, and I think that's going to do it in the long run, is just Xardas having the massive economy. We'll take a look at the economy score after this. But should be all she wrote soon, and there's GG. And that castle does stay up, despite the firing line of longbowmen. So we can look at the statistics. You can just see just massive economy favor for Xardas the entire time. Starts real early, and he gets forward. Even though the military for a while was incredibly scary, Omar just couldn't get that push. Yeah, those extra 15 longbowmen, even if those had just been like, you thrown one Treb with those guys, if you thrown one Treb with those longbowmen, that entire right side of the map gets cleaned up, right? And that's a third of Xardas' economy and a lot of Xardas' gold. Also, Xardas, what are your pronouns, if you don't mind? I'm trying to I keep saying theys to make sure, but want to make sure I make it easier if I know what they are instead of man. Excellent, he him, perfect. I will stop trying to use they then. Health on that castle. Yes. It is 64. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that low. So close. Omar, you could have held on for 30 more seconds. You did back it up. Yes. Though, at the same time, you could have just repaired the castle. Lock down right side and raid the left. You were doing great there. You're at your right side, perfectly locked down. A lot of castles. I do think you have a TC over here. I do think a TC up front here to help restock villagers would have been the right thing. Mid game was scary. Mid game was terrifying. I think Omar had a chance to win this. Like, this is not good. This is not a good situation to be in. Right here. 130 military to 37. That was terrifying for you. That was. Yeah, I don't blame you. You held on very well. You left eco again. You probably could have expanded forward on the left side as well, really lock it down, because Omar was just not focused on eco and expanding early on. Focused mostly on the front. Outlast in the middle. You made the right call. I mean, actually, I have the time frame. I can do time stuff. How do I do time? Isn't there a timeline I can like jump around to? again, I need to R. T. There we are. We can just time 17. So yeah, it was like right here. Yeah, so this is kind of where it started going really downhill. I mean, the double, the pop, and everything is because you're not necessarily maxed out, but that's the other problem with going really low eco uh is that military number can just climb super high. Yeah, like this, only 2 trebs is a huge mistake. You get 3 or 4 trebs, and this castle goes down right away. And you start pushing. Yeah, I think Omar just missed an opportunity here. Yeah, the halberdiers just aren't there to help protect against the line, and then I think it's really just like you have 45 longbowmen here, and just not targeting the bombard cannons. That's the biggest mistake I think that Omar made, just not hitting those bombard cannons over and over again. You're just losing, yeah, you just lose so much HP. Would do well, but a lot of them got best by longbows. Yeah, exactly. That is why it is tough to do bombard cannons against Britons, but it is better if they don't target them, which is where the micro just wasn't. I think you did fine, yeah. It's I don't know, Turks don't really get early camels. Yeah, I think the camels weren't the right call. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. But Xardas taking 2. And we are here. Cool. Give me 1 second to set up the next. Well, first we'll do Turks 1, Britain's loss. And here we go. So give me 1 second to load the next replay. All right, welcome back. For the third game, we are going to have immersion. I mean, I guess it is. That's how it works. Is that you? I mean, I assume it's counter picks. So we're gonna have the immersion. We're gonna have the water game. What will we be doing on water? I mean, my guess for Omar is either Italians or Malians, just because those are the ones I feel like, or Japanese. I mean, those 3 are all good water civs from back in my day, if I remember correctly. And then I don't know what water civ is good over on, or hybrid civ for Xardas. You could just go like hard land and do like Bohemians or Franks. I mean, I feel like at this level, with all due respect, having a better water civ isn't quite as necessary as having a solid land civ you can just kind of use as well. Especially on immersion, where I feel like it is not as much of a long, drawn-out water battle. Omar can do Malion's rush to control ponds. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me just remind myself why the Malians are good on water. Malians. Why are they good on water? Buildings are cheap. Humans is also viable for rush. What is the Malians rush? Is it just Gebettos? Or is it no? You rush with camels? Oh, you don't need to worry about scout. That's fair. That's right. Yeah, it's Tigui. Okay. I can see that being the case. Okay. Well, any other guesses? What are people feeling? Griffin's on Malians for Omar, but what do we think Xardas is doing? We were saying Cumins is also viable for Rush. I guess, yeah. I learned something by checking the tech tree of my next civ. You should have shown the snipe here. What snipe? Whoops. I totally forgot that there's snipes. Because I had to go through. I didn't finish playing. Yeah. Hey, this is my second time playing Age in 3 years. Give me some slack. You don't have a onboarding document for the casting. All right. So, let's get underway, I guess. Cumins and Bengali snipe, yeah. So no Cumin rush. So real quick, with the snipes, what are we thinking for Xardas? Griffin, what are we feeling? No Cumins. Don't Khmer have like decent water of something? Or are they just like solid all around? Bengalis can be good as well. That's true. Do Bengalis have special bonus? Ships regenerate. That's what it is. Yeah. That could be good. Yeah, I could see that being a yeah, they're naval civ as well. So Bengalis would make sense. Khmer versus Malians, 2 bills just for Ellie's. Interesting. All right. Well, let's get underway and get into game 3. There we are. All right. Oh, get rid of that. All right, game 3. In the red, we have Omar picking the Japanese. And in the blue, up 2-0 is Xardas with the Khmer. So we could be seeing heavy water or heavy land fights. And we see, as before, Xardas really good with the opening, sending the scout forward to try to find a Vil snipe. And Hussar versus Light Cav isn't going to be the greatest. And this Hussar finding a villager a little bit far away is attacking the foundation instead of the villager. Oh no, that would have definitely been a kill. But unfortunately, Xardas not finding a kill like he has in the past means that Omar will have a little bit of breathing room compared to previous days, or previous games. Xardas went for Malian's counter on Khmer, but Omar went Japanese. So now we see Elefantos. And immediate docks from Xardas. Xardas knowing the meta a little bit better. Having, once again, knows his openings. So getting that middle dock control, very important. We'll see a little bit of expansions on the right side, on the left side, with the castle and some TCs. We'll see if Xardas also tries to claim the middle ponds as well. There's this little back pond as well. So kind of interesting there's not a pond in this area, whereas that one's kind of... Yeah. But the dock's already up, and they're coming out with elite cannon galleons right away. So Xardas knows the meta. Gonna plop those cannons right in the middle and just have a massive pain point to deal with for Omar. Omar finally sends the scout forward. Kind of wondering what's happening since Xardas for the first time hasn't really rushed early. He's gonna find out very quickly. There are Khmer Scorpions and Elephants, and this is gonna be a very tough composition to deal with Halberdiers and Onagers, just regular Onagers, not necessarily very good against elite battle elephants with their massive HPs. This is suspiciously silent. Yeah, that's the worst stage. And the cannon galleon just gonna come forward and see what he can range, and it's gonna find the castle right in range and just start firing. And Andre's gonna come forward, but castle probably a little bit too aggressive. That castle's going to get denied, I feel like. Oh, the Halberdier is gonna melt cannon galleon, so a little bit bad micro. Xardas looks away, but as long as that cannon galleon doesn't go too far forward, it should be fine. And yeah, this castle a little bit too aggressive. But with these elephants coming in and Andres a little bit far forward, no halberdiers help deal with this. The elephants are just come in here and melt these Andres. The Andres are going to get some very nice shots, and they have choked up pretty well as long as they don't friendly fire. But, I mean, Andres versus elephants, not really going to be doing enough, and that's just so many elephants. 77 military versus 14 with Candy Galleon support. Trying to get a dock up in the middle, but the Candy Galleon already in the middle is going to stop that with galleys. And these elephants are just going to melt through everything. And unfortunately, regular Onager just not going to do enough against elephants. And this should be a much faster game. And Xardas trying to establish some control, keep some good habits, but sending elephants just forward, and there's nothing left for Omar once his castle goes down. Khmer get elite Candy Galleons. Smart. I mean, yeah, and, like, again, it's one of those, like, not to, you know, criticize skill, because you're better than I am. But at early levels, I've found that elephants are incredibly hard to deal with, especially in DM. Unless you have, like, a very strong camel civ. But, yeah, it's Elephant Rush, I feel like is kind of, not necessarily a free win at this level, but it definitely is a tough thing to defend against. To target them, even though the text tree says they don't. Really? That's wild. But well played from Xardas. Even with the kind of free snowball that was, as always, Xardas, very strong opening. And grabs the docks right away. You can already even see some TCs, some side docks for the fish, or just pond control. 2 TCs over here. No villagers queued up, unfortunately. But already planning on getting the eco. Xardas just played correctly. Very well done. I don't know how I feel about galleons. I mean, I guess galleons are fine. Especially when you have that control, just to maintain dock control or pond control and stuff. But, yeah. Burmese don't get shipwrecked, even though tech tree says they do. Is the tech tree in game or the tech tree that I was using? Actually, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let me swap to the next game, and we'll figure it out. All right, welcome back. This will be game number 4. We just had a very quick Khmer victory over the Japanese for Omar. So, let's talk about the map. It's going to be Runestones, the classic, the Arabia of DM. As far as I'm aware, Arabia still isn't played in DM. They just stick on Runestones. Being coached is a bit OP in Div 11. Oh, that's fair. Who's coaching Xardas? And, like, coaching is one thing, but at the end of the day, I think the most important thing I've noticed is that Xardas has practiced his openings, right? Like, I have my scrub qualms about the opening rush. Like, back when I was playing and really into Age, I was really tempted to try to learn how to do map scripting and make like a Empire Wars for DM where you have the start already completed, because as a noob, I don't like the opening. But in DM, you need to know your openings. It's like chess. You can be as good as you are in the mid game, but if your opening is trash, you're not going to get there. So regardless of coaching or anything, I mean, coaching, helping with the opening definitely helps. But Xardas has practiced his openings, and it shows. So, is the best trainee? Oh, out of your training. Xardas the best trainee you had in a long time, making love to the barbarian. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, that's what's important. So, anyways, we're going to Runestones. Bohemians versus Malians, I'd guess, or Persians. I'd guess one of those two. I feel like Italians aren't great on Pure Land, but how are we feeling for Runestones? Otter and Griffin, what are we thinking? Yeah, I mean, Otter, the class thing is like anybody can coach anybody, but if the coachee or the trainee isn't willing to put in the effort to practice or like actually implement the coaching, coaching won't help very much. If Xardas is making love to that barbarian and putting in the effort to practice, that's when you know they're going to go far. Persians versus Bohemians is your guess? All right, I can see that. What are the remaining maps? So the next map is going to be Runestones, and then the last one is Serengeti. So essentially 2 Arabias. And my throat is starting to give up with my little cough, so let me grab a Sepacol. The stream is sponsored by drugs. Yeah, if you guys have never, I don't know if they have it elsewhere, but Sepacol, it's essentially cough drops that numb your throat as well. Somebody, I remember back when I was working in software, somebody was like, "Oh, cough drops never help me," and then I gave them one of these, and they're like, "I have never been happier." Yeah, more water. I've already got. I keep forgetting to use my big cup. My big cup I usually use for pre-workout and stuff, but I should probably use that for water for casting. Well, otherwise, I'll run out very quickly. Lost too many points fighting people in Div 1. That's fair. All right. Anyways, so the guess so far has been Bohemians versus Persians, which I'm just gonna refresh myself on Bohemians. I know their gunpowder is insane, and monks. That's the other thing. Oh right, they get that affects villagers, cannoneers early, which is important here. None of these matter too much. Hussite wagon. That's the thing I forget. Yeah, Hussite wagons and hoofneys. Yeah, I still remember Bohemians just being annoying and the original red Phosphorus arc with the like when people thought these wagons are trash, and then it was just like, oh no, you just mass them and you can't lose. Bengalis versus Persians and Malians versus Bohemians. Yeah, I mean, also it's one of those things where as far as Elo goes, the devs need to pay attention to ranked. Like, unranked games are one thing because you get all those crazy Mitchy DMs. But if we play more, like, the devs do track ranked games, right? Like, DM used to have a ladder. Crazy thought. But if the devs see a lot of people playing ranked DM, even if it's for tournaments, it's going to look better for them, and they might actually dedicate more resources towards it. So, and also it just kind of like makes it more official counting and stuff, right? Like when there's points involved, it's a little bit more fun. But okay, cool. Let's get into the next game. So Tarnished Deathmatch. There we are. Let's go into game 4. Game number 4 is going to be in the red, trying to claw back from a 3-0 deficit. Is Omar playing the Persians, and in the blue, Xardas is playing the Bengalis, having been up 3-0. Already seeing a very strong start, as always. Very well done with the speed of placing the grids. Scout coming forward. And Persians... I mean, Omar, one thing he could do is place the building a little bit closer, because these villagers are a little bit exposed and would need to run. And let's see, Xardas does find one villager. That villager is going to get into the TC. Very well done. Needs to make sure not, and the hell, very well done from Omar. Manages to actually save his villagers on his own. So, already seeing a nice little character arc from Omar. Getting a little bit better, protecting against that early scout rush. Will Omar make elephants? We have stables. We have barracks. Making halberdiers first against elephants. Elite battle elephants from the Persians are going to be very, very dangerous. Halberdiers, heavy camels, and Savars. So elephant rush with even more elephants. Or not, Bengalis don't make elephants. Yeah. Camels and halberdiers will be needed to take out these elephants. Xardas has found 2 kills though. Maybe we'll get a third one here. Gets a third one. So very strong start from Xardas. I mean, it is a very expensive. You can already see Xardas is out of gold, having queued up 85 elephants. I mean, queued up 25, but that is just an elephant full-out spam. So Xardas going very heavy, as we said before. Elephant spam, very hard to deal with unless you're a camel civ, and luckily Xardas is, or Omar is a civ with heavy camels. And so heavy camel pike is going to push that elephant ball back a bit, and Xardas is going to have to mass up his units. And yeah, no castle. Omar not making their war elephants, which would be a great counter to lesser elephants. So, yeah. And Xardas, once again, building a castle up front. This castle is pretty far forward. I mean, you have the ability to, but putting a castle here or here, just to have a better, easier time putting it up and control a hill. I mean, this forward hill is nice, but it's a little bit riskier to do that there. And I mean, it's going to pay off, but I think the safer play would have been this hill. And then you can hopscotch forward into the next one. Xardas better than Div 4. I will give Xardas some leeway in the sense of Omar has never once been the aggressor here. The only time Xardas has been pressured was midway is in the middle game on the outcropping match, I think it was. So it'll be interesting. It's pretty easy to, not easy, but it's simpler to practice your openings and just copy paste your opening here when there's not a lot of pressure going on. Like, you're not being pressured at home, you're not having to worry about micro. You're just kind of massing up in the middle. So all RMOs go LE archers and die. You're telling me elephant archers aren't the best unit in the game? That sounds wrong. Small little Savar raid is going to get mopped up immediately. And yeah, now the trebs start coming forward. Some forward siege workshops too would be nice. But yeah, Xardas doing everything right here. A lot of camels, a lot of halberdiers. The scorpions will do all right. I don't know if heavy scorpion play is necessary. Like, camels are gonna... I mean, it's kind of hard to go wrong here when you have such a massive lead. But... so I don't think scorpions are going to be the best play against this massive ball of heavy camels. But... this matchup doesn't need Scorps. I mean, okay, so yeah, Scorps seem like the play. It just... it feels wrong when there's a lot of heavy camels, but I mean, they're going to just get into the perfect battle line, and these Scorpions are going to melt. But they are getting clustered. There's a little bit of a roadblock going on. It's not the best fight. Needs to pull the elephants back, and a little bit of micro here is going to allow the Scorpions to range those units. And this is going to be very quick cleanup. Yeah, LE Scorp is a great combination. I think I'm just a little bit overrating camels. This is just not the best fight from Xardas. And gonna lose the trebs from the bomber cannon snipes. Most because the scorpions are going on the side. Like, it's a totally fine fight, but it's one of those that you could definitely improve that fight and really win even harder. And if there's, an equal army on the other side, it might not have been the best result. But this is gonna be a very quick cleanup. Very well done from Xardas. The only real blemish was how that fight was positioned. Like, right now you have no trebs because they just got all snipes. So yeah. Other than that, it's going to be a very quick game. Very well done. Pretty solid build. How the fuck do you stop this? The answer is you don't let them get to this. To use a melee euphemism here, Marth is terrible in the corner. I asked Kavlar, who's a really good, best Massachusetts or New England Marth player, and I was like, hey, how do you deal with when Marth is in the corner? And his answer was, don't let Marth get put in the corner. So yeah, you don't stop this once it's here. You stop it by not letting it get there that easily. Or if they are at that position, you have an equally massive, like Scorps and War Elephants, which are just better. So, but well done from Xardas. Once again, showing his prowess in the opening. Don't really think there's too much. I mean, we can talk about too. He's doing his expansions. He's controlling the middle, getting that farm eco. Xardas is doing everything he needed to right. Yeah, it's definitely, like, my recommendation, Xardas, is get a practice game in with somebody who's in a much higher div, and be like, and just try this against them, and they're gonna rush you, and you're gonna find how difficult it is to actually get something like that going when you're being rushed. Yeah. So I think that's a like, we can say it all day long, but it's one of those things I feel like you need to experience just to be like, okay, see it happen to you, and then now you're gonna be like, if your opponent picks Khmers, you can be like, okay, I just need to rush the Khmer, and they won't get to this death ball. So, all right, give me 1 second to set up the last game. All right, so the last game is going to be on Serengeti. We had, it was Persians versus Khmer. Yeah. Wait, no, Bengali. Um, cool. I'm gonna go fill up on water because hydrate or dihydrate. I want to see a few guesses on what people think this last matchup is going to be. Not many options, but I would love, rather, instead of seeing what the people think the matchup is be, I want to hear why the matchup should be, because that's, I need to learn about this stuff. What do you think, like, what Xardas and Omar will pick, but also, like, imagine it's Frost versus another Div 1 player. What is the thinking of these, like, last two civs on this map? I would love to know the meta of, like, who would pick what? The rock, paper, scissors game theory. Give me 1 sec. Hope it's not Italians. Omar didn't make castles with the right comp, though. And you have faster starts, it's even more unfair. Pretty close to those players, only one difference. Oh, that's true. Bohemians versus Malians, because Franks die to Malians, and Italians are really, really bad. Makes sense. Condo Rush versus Bohemians could be fun. Bohemians versus Malians is the prediction. I know my choice would always be Franks, because I think the noob friendliness, at least the way it used to be, was Huns was number one, Franks were number two, because it was just like the most straightforward. That was also back when it was all mirror matches. And like there's a lot more mirror matching than there is today. I'm not remembering that incorrectly, right? Otter, like 3 or 4 years ago, a lot more people were, there's a lot more DM mirror matches because it was a lot less balanced in DM for a while. Franks can rush. Because I think there's a lot of mirror matching back when I started. Either win immediately or lose immediately. It's class. Yeah. I mean, with how Xardas has been playing, like we can talk like hardcore strategy right now. With Xardas winning off of early rushes, that might actually even be better. Because you know your opponent's not very strong in an early rush. The one time it went to the mid game, Xardas was struggling a bit against the Britons. So it honestly might make sense in this case for Xardas to pick Franks and do that early Paladin all in. Because you could assume that Omar's not great at the opening. Once it got into the middle game, it was a little bit tougher. So, you asked for Frost versus favorite? Yes, no, absolutely. I did. But I can, have my cake and eat it too of talking about multiple things. I think in this, like, if we were to talk about hardcore strategy here, having the Frank rush in this situation works. For the top level gameplay, yes. Siege. Yeah, Bohemians I think are just better at top level. So, favorite might go Franks as Xardas though. Because is there like a little bit of a matchup triangle where like Franks would be better against the Malians than Bohemians or something? Franks would be easier to win with, but I want to do the better thing in theory, which is Bohemians. I mean, hey, that's the other thing. Spoilers. When you're up like 4-1 in a game, it is not a bad idea to practice in a tournament setting of doing the right thing, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you lose theoretically, like, it does matter because Swiss, but doing an early elephant rush for the third time theoretically, even though neither of these civs can, you're not really learning much off of that, right, in a tournament setting. Whereas if you do a Bohemian and try to do that properly like you have been doing, it's some good reps. So I like that line of thinking. No worries, Xardas. All right. In that case, let's get into our final match. And yeah, it's going to be on Serengeti for the final game. Omar in the red playing the Malians versus Xardas playing the Bohemians in the blue. Xardas up 4-0, trying to clean off a 5-0 sweep. You can already see Xardas going for early barracks and a defense and a chicken castle, as I was told is a term. But Omar, on the other hand, getting ready to defend against this castle. The TC with the arrows really helps protect, and Omar kind of needs that in this early rush. Yeah, Omar still needs to practice the opening, like you said. Malian TC, yeah. Forgot. Yeah. One moment, a little pause. That's fine. I mean, it is one of those things that at the end of the day, losing your scout like that doesn't make much of a difference. In fact, it just frees up pop space. I'm sure there's reasons to, not just run your scout in and hope for a Hail Mary shot, but yeah, it's going to be a slow start. Omar or Xardas going to lean on to having a better opening, which clearly is the case. Omar's first 20-30 seconds seem really sloppy, but then he gets to a point where he actually he starts doing what he's supposed to. So it's I think it's just an execution thing at the start. If Omar gets some more reps in, he'll be doing fine. Cavalier is an interesting choice from the Malians player. I don't really know if that's the right play. He fills the gaps. Farimba. Oh, right. They have better attack. That's right. I did see the 17 attack versus Gunpowder Halbs and Siege and Onagers. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, Xardas is probably going to win this simply because, very good Civ and better opening. But with the slow start, I mean, we saw what happened to the Britons in game number 2, where Omar wasn't managed to hold off the pressure and get into a much more dominating position in the middle game. So Omar likely going to be much stronger in the middle game than in the early, but this is a massive ball of units coming in, still almost double the military, simply because of a better opening. And nothing currently to deal with these halberdiers, so these cavaliers do not want to engage on this, even though Xardas could have taken that engagement. Is maybe being a little bit worried about potentially having something else besides cavalier, but we know there's nothing really, there's siege onagers coming up, but they had a chance to engage before that. In the meantime, Xardas just going to take control of that middle hill, the very important middle hill, and should be fine. Needs to figure out what's going on over here, is going to see these siege onagers, and needs to make sure not to lose a lot of units here. But a lot of units are going to get traded both sides, and I mean, with the infrastructure that Xardas has, I think you can afford to it. There is a raid in the back. Cavaliers taking a few villager kills. So Omar getting a little bit of a raid in, but with castles all around here, only able to find one kill. So not the worst from Omar. We like to see a little bit of aggression, since there has been much in this game, but Siege Onagers have 14 kills, but they're going a little bit far forward and exposing themselves, and they're going to get melted. Some good trades here, but at the end of the day, with no meat shield in front of these Siege Onagers, they're just going to get melted by the Bohemians. We also see the Halberdiers kind of preventing expansion on the left side, and this is still looking very strong for Xardas. I mean, the economy is surprisingly better for Omar. Simply a few extra TCs going. A lot of villagers queued up for Xardas, so expect that number to really massively spike up. And this middle castle, once it goes up, I don't expect Omar to be able to have a very good time trying to take it down. No castles actually even built at all for Omar. Nothing to protect, nothing to trebuchet this. We'll have I assume Malians get bomber cannons, they do. So we'll be able to take out this castle, but needs units to defend against the bomber cannons, and nothing is there to defend. We have the champions coming out, so they'll be able to take out the halberdiers, but with the wagons, it'll be a tough time. Though a lot of the wagons got wiped out by the SOs, so maybe it's a good opportunity. That is a lot of onagers coming forward. They're going to kill a lot of their own units. I don't like onagers here. I don't think onagers are needed. There's going to be so much friendly fire here. So far, not too much. There it is. Yep. And that's going to allow the cavaliers to run in and just start taking care of some of these onagers. I think Xardas has kind of opened up a window for, yeah, the castle goes down, no villagers repairing it. The Andras kind of defeating themselves here. We're queued in minute 2. That's fair. At that point, I almost even just wouldn't bring them to the middle. It's you gotta trust yourself in the micro. Nice. Hey, you took out 3 SOs with him though, so not all dead. The change to champions for Xardas to match the champions of Omar. I mean, I guess. But at the end of the day, you have the wit. I just continue to pump out Hazat Wagons and trash. So, interesting choice. And now we see Lightcav coming in for the Malians player. And I don't think Lightcav are going to do great against Wagons and Halberdiers and all that stuff. So, yeah, Xardas looks like he's going to wrap this one up. A little bit of expansion. We see Market Play coming in for Omar. But yeah, Xardas continuing to just kind of push the issue, not really worrying too much about economy yet, because he definitely senses the feeling that he has an advantage here. Some walls, interesting, to prevent against the probably some. Oh no, more. Yeah, it's not too bad with the onagers. It's honestly, it's just like, it's one of those situations where if you're in the lead this much and you don't trust your micro, you send them over to this side to just do what they can and don't worry about it. Cause like it's onagers can win from any position and onagers can lose from any position is a saying from I think a random YouTube video I watched about Pokemon. But yeah, Lightcav gonna try to snipe some stuff. They're not gonna find anything. Gunpowder, Halberdier is really gonna protect this. Little bad micro leaving the wagons unexposed. And really, the question is going to be, Xardas needs to be able to take out these very valuable gold units in the back and continue to flood spam forward. And once the champions start getting in there, they're going to clean that up. The Hoofnies doing their work, and this should be very quickly done. Yeah, the Hoofnies even spreading out, taking some of these buildings. Xardas fully pop-capped, getting the queue built up behind it. Needs to get some food eco. We'll see if he is getting some farms. Has 3 farms, only 2 on farms, so something else to think about. I mean, probably worried more about gold and wood, so that makes sense. But to continue the spam of like infantry, you do need some food. So, but maxing gold for the wagons and siege makes sense here. And Omar calls GG well played. And Xardas is going to take this 5-0 with very strong play and very strong starts. So Omar, when he wasn't getting rushed down to his death, had some good moments, had some solid middle game. That Britain's game, very strong hold, very strong push, just didn't have enough to push through and win that game. I think Omar definitely could have won that second game. I think the rest of it was just a lack of experience in the opener. And Xardas showing that practice does make perfect when your base looks like this but within a few minutes. You're going to be doing really well, even if you struggle a little bit, actually making the push, continuing the economy. Xardas showing that he has a very solid foundation to build on. That is huge and will take him much farther than someone like me who doesn't like to practice. Omar best doing APM. Is it APM or effective APM? Yeah. Yeah. At the same time, that's not the most. We can look at APM, right? It's relatively even. He has a little bit higher APM, but this is effective APM, right? Just pop. I forget how these work, but military. And the other thing is, you don't need to have very high APM, especially when you're in a dominating position.